next. The search is over for a teenage girl with special needs. 17-year-old Karen Grimsley was found safe inside a parked bus at the Unibaptist Church on Old Murfreesboro Road. She was last seen yesterday afternoon at her caretaker's apartment on Rice Road in Antioch, but Metro Police say as she slipped through the bedroom window, she made it about 3 miles. But again, 17-year-old Karen Grimsley has been found. New information this morning on the attempted kidnapping on Vanderbilt's campus. Scott Wallace is now in the Metro jail. He was arrested October 23rd in St. Augustine, Florida. We just received the affidavit on the case showing that the violent abduction, they're saying the attempt was, according to the documents, Wallace attacked the victim at a crosswalk, tackling her to the ground, and when she fought back, police say Wallace slammed her head into the pavement. The victim told police Wallace had a crazy look in his eyes. Fortunately, Wallace ran off when a group of friends happened to walk up, likely stopping the abduction attempt from becoming an abduction. He faces aggravated kidnapping charges.
Metro Schools delaying part of its controversial all-choice school option over in East Nashville. News Channel 5's Cuthbert Langley is following this one for us. He's at the Metro Schools headquarters with the very latest development. And this plan has been really controversial from the very beginning, hasn't it?
It has. It was announced back in August. The superintendent, Dr. Jesse Register, says that he wanted to come up with a plan to try to combat the low-performing schools in the district. And this all-choice plan really centered around East Nashville, really hit the nerves of a lot of teachers and parents because there's word that some schools in that area may be closed. And so he met with parents, as you're seeing there, and teachers throughout the last couple of months. And just yesterday, he announced that there is a more specific timeline now in place for the implementation of this plan. He will announce the turnaround plans for the low-performing schools in January, but the most controversial decisions, we're talking about when schools will close, if they do, and which ones will, those announcements will not be made until May. Here's the thing, though. Dr. Register is set to retire in June. So according to the Tennessean, one school board member says this plan is absurd because the timeline is just so close to when he retires, and he says this plan will really only be about a month old, and that's just not fair to the students and parents in the district. Dr. Register says that, quote, what we plan for this year could set the stage for decades of school and community growth. That means we have to be deliberate and very careful in making those decisions. So it's really not known exactly which day in May these decisions will be made or how in depth they will go. But no matter what, some are concerned just given how close that closing announcement is to Dr. Register's final days with the district. Also yesterday, he announced that he has created a community advisory committee that's made up of parents, students, and teachers who also help him guide his way through this new plan and its implementation. Of course, we'll have much more throughout the day, but for now, we're live here at Metro School headquarters this morning. Cuthbert Langley, News Channel 5 HD.
All right, Cuthbert, thank you. And new this morning for you, a driver surviving a rollover only to wind up in jail. This was the scene overnight on Bluefield Avenue in Donaldson. Witnesses say after the crash, the driver got out and asked the witnesses there, please do not call the cops. And then he took off running. Well, the witnesses did call the cops, and police found him on Lebanon Pike. He was charged with driving under the influence.
And the fight over gay marriage in Tennessee is likely headed for the Supreme Court. A ruling by the Sixth Circuit bucks the trend nationwide and upheld the ban on gay marriage here and in 3 other states. Now there is a clash in opinions between appellate courts, and the Supreme Court wasn't willing to take up the issue until that happened. Gay marriage supporters say this decision stings, but it's not the end of the fight.
We think it will be one of the stepping stones to getting us marriage equality. We can't fully predict what the U.S. Supreme Court will do.
It's a great victory, although I think everyone has to acknowledge that the decision today by the Sixth Circuit creates a split between the circuits, meaning that the case ultimately will be resolved by the United States Supreme Court.
Although there is no timeline on when this could go to the High Court, back in 2006, voters overwhelmingly passed Tennessee's gay marriage ban. Meanwhile, the Tennessee Equality Project has already coordinated a series of rallies opposing the ruling. One's being held at 6:30 tonight at the Bicentennial Mall State Park right here in Nashville. They're asking supporters to bring signs and flashlights. Another's being held at 5 o'clock in Cookeville at the Putnam County Courthouse.
A convicted killer who changed his mind twice about a guilty plea will spend the rest of his life in prison. Donnie Jones was convicted of killing 24-year-old nursing student Megan Sharpton back in 2012 and then dumping her body on the side of a road down in Franklin County. He pled guilty last February. but then he asked for a new trial. Jones claimed he was coerced and given bad legal advice. Tullahoma News says now Jones has withdrawn the request for a new trial just weeks before a new hearing.
Happening today, the Woodland Hills escapee accused of shooting a TSU student is due in court. 18-year-old Demario Fisher was the last of more than 30 teens who escaped Woodland Hills in September. Investigators say on the night of October 29th, he robbed a female student who was walking back to campus with friends. The victim put up a fight and was shot several times. Police found and arrested Fisher on October 31st, his 18th birthday. He's charged with especially aggravated robbery, aggravated assault, and unlawful gun possession.
Police are closing in on a group that burglarized an elderly woman's home while she was mowing the lawn. 3 of the 4 have been identified. Chris Spain and Sarah Nicholson have already been arrested. That happened yesterday afternoon, and a warrant's out for the other guy, Samuel Spain. They're accused of stealing bank cards, a cell phone, and even silverware from a house on McGavock Pike while the woman was outside cutting the yard and didn't know that those guys were in her home. Police say while they were in there, they also kicked a dog, which causes it to lose sight in one eye. Detectives are still working to identify the 4th suspect you see there. He's the one there in the back with that football jersey on, the number 6 jersey. They still have not identified that individual.